I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We want to,
Asking for a brief executive session?
okay, we're going to make a little amendment to the agenda, looking for an executive session for one MRSA 4056A, duty of officials. So moved.
All in favor? Or any discussion? Sorry. No discussion. Okay, all in favor? Is that Ms. Field? Okay. So we will be back. As more okay. Right. Oh, you're good. Okay, next we have, before we do public input, Vice Chair is just going to read a little bit about how public input is going to work.
So the first public input session is a 15-minute session with each person having no longer than 3 minutes in which to make a statement. A second public input session may be held at the end of the meeting if allowed by the board chair. The speaker will give his or her name, address, and reason for speaking. Public input is designed for noble residents. The board chair may grant to non-residents the opportunity to address the board. Statements concerning subject matter that falls under the law regarding executive sessions cannot be made during public input. For example, matters involving personnel.
Do we have anybody who has public input tonight for us? We're gonna step right over there to the...
Sure. Just a quick question. You mentioned talking about personnel. If I address my position, is that okay? And what I speak about?
What do you mean?
Such as principal, such as nurse.
I think it depends on what you say about them. If it's
It's the context.
Okay.
yeah, and you can just use the name that the principal of the school said. That's great.
All right, I am Russell Nadeau, 62 Summersworth Road, right here in Berwick, Maine. My daughter is a senior at Noble High School, Ariana Nadeau, and my son Cameron Nadeau is a kindergartner at Lebanon Elementary. So, good evening. I'd like to thank the school board for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm here tonight to speak about my son Cameron Nadeau's severe allergy and the roadblocks I've faced within the school system so far. My son Cameron Nadeau is severely allergic to peanuts and tree nuts. It is so extreme that it can be fatal. I assure you I've done my best to protect my son, but unfortunately I cannot do it alone. From my first discussion with the school and the school nurse, it has been a frustrating situation. After repeatedly explaining to the nurse Cameron's allergy could be deadly and requesting his classroom should be nut-free, she insisted on a nut-free table, not a nut-free classroom. The principal had to interject and say the classroom would indeed be safe. I feel a school nurse should be an advocate, not an obstacle, when it comes to children's health and safety. I brought up how I felt a severe allergy should be given special attention, such as a handicap or disability, as it is life-threatening. The response by the principal and her staff was there was no correlation. After doing research, I found that severe and possibly deadly allergic episodes are covered under Section 504. So unfortunately, the staff did not have the correct information for me. I printed a letter about my son, help written by my son Cameron, that I wanted to share. At the first school meeting, I was told that it would be better for when he was in first grade as students cannot read. I reached out and let the school know that I didn't expect the children to read it. I was hopeful that the parents would. The school informed me that this would not be allowed. I reached out to the principal and asked to bring the letter and discuss Cameron's allergy at an upcoming PTO meeting. I was told I would not be allowed to bring the letter, nor bring up the topic of my son's allergy. When asked who made this decision, the principal responded the decision was made by the superintendent. I have reached out to the superintendent, Stephen Conley, regarding this and have not received a response several times. I would like to read a brief statement from the food allergy community regarding PTO and PTA meetings. Food allergy tips for parent-teacher organizations and parent-teacher associations. Today, 1 in 13 children has food allergies, and nearly 40% of these children have experienced a severe life-threatening reaction. Many of these reactions happen at school. Parent-teacher organizations and parent-teacher associations are a vital part of the school community, providing an organized family and community component. As a PTO or PTA leader, you can be a powerful voice for your children and other children, advocating for their health, safety, education, and overall well-being. Children with food allergies need your support to ensure their safety and inclusion. From classroom parties to school family nights to after-school fundraisers, keep in mind that all students in the community should be able to participate safely. Food allergies may constitute as a disability under the law. Children with food allergies are entitled to an equal opportunity to participate in all school programs and events, including extracurricular activities. This usually applies to activities held by groups such as PTOs and PTAs, which is why I felt it was important to go to the PTO meeting. I've asked for some special accommodations for my son Cameron, as this is a serious situation, such as daily updates to ensure Cameron's mental and physical safety as he eats at a separate table, many times with one or two other children. Principal Gilly responded by saying it is not the scope of her job to update parents daily, even though that this is a different circumstance. The number one priority is not to change what parents choose to feed or pack for their children, but for the parents to have the information that can help keep all kids safe. The no sharing food policy is one of the biggest safety precautions for severe allergies, along with hand and face washing after eating. Many parents have reached out to me asking how they can help and what they can pack so my son does not feel alone. There is no set policy in place for parents who choose to pack safe lunches. There is a paper notifying parents of an allergy in the school, but it is a paper that could have easily been misplaced. I have tried to do my part. Cameron is aware of his allergy. EpiPens have been given to all staff, and I have been assured all staff that come into contact with Cameron, including his bus drivers, know how to administer the EpiPen. Cameron's classroom has become nut aware and peanut products not allowed, which is a positive. I am hopeful there will be a system put in place where all staff and all parents, as well as students, are aware of Cameron's situation. I am also hopeful that there will be a system in place to encourage parents who choose to pack safe lunches the opportunity for their children to sit with my child at lunch, as well as a way to inform and include other families whose children have allergies to align and have the support of each other. The overall feedback from parents has been amazing, and my family and my son will forever be grateful to the ones who have helped. Cameron has a right to be a kindergartner. With your help, we can make it a safer place for him and all students with allergies. I am blessed to have two wonderful children, my daughter Ariana, who will be graduating from Noble High School this June, and my son Cameron, who I hope and pray one day will be walking down with his graduating class. My son is a sweet boy, and I asked after being hit by a player at soccer practice how he'd react if it happened again. He replied, I would forgive him. After being teased on the bus and received an apology, he replied, it's okay. He has a heart of gold, and I could not be more proud to call him my son. I thank you again for your time. My mother, Linda Sear, has packets on food allergies and prevention for anyone who is interested. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. I'm thinking maybe we should send this to the policy subcommittee to review.
Just to be sure that we have, that we're following the policies and they're up to date.
Right.
And I believe also that there's a 504 meeting scheduled so that within the school they can do further just investigating, making sure that we're providing. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other?
Do we have any other public input from anyone?
May I speak? I don't live here, but it's my son, my grandson.
Is there anybody else who has public input? Just to make sure. Yeah. Yeah, if you have anything new to add or you know.
I just have one question.
Okay, hold on. If you gotta go up to the microphone.
We're on TV, so
Yes, you don't want to miss
it's all
your
about
time
it.
on television.
Right.
Can you ask for her name? Could you just state your name for us?
My name's Linda Sear. I'm the mother of Russell Nato and the grandmother of Ariana and Cameron. My concern is, because I have raised 4 children. They've done very, very well. And I've taught them to be outspoken when needed to be. I don't understand why my son was not able to speak at a PTO meeting, why a superintendent would tell him he couldn't speak.
I don't understand that. Is that against the law? There's free speech, isn't there?
I think it was based on the actual venue of the parent-teacher organization and whether or not that was the appropriate place. It was a judgment call, and so I think, you may not agree with it, but it is what we asked.
Is it possible that they made a bad judgment call, especially if this is life or death?
So I think that we have been working with the school to make sure that Cameron is as safe as he possibly can be. And I know that that's not necessarily, that we're not in agreement on that. But this isn't the place for us to talk about that specifically on camera about a student. So I'm just gonna stop there.
Okay, so I would like to reiterate a couple things. One, of Cameron being very safe here. I know a lot of politicians, and I've been on a lot of committees, and it's always about safety. Even Department of Transportation talk about safety, and they go fix the road as quickly as possible if you mention it's a safety issue. And I find this is a very safe issue that we need to deal with as a school. I mean, we fly all the time, and they don't have nuts anymore on the plane. No one, not one airline. They stopped it, in the best interest of all. It might be an inconvenience, but consider the time constraint that the children have in school. It's only a few hours. I'm just hoping that this school, which my son seems very pleased with, that they will reach out and possibly make it a whole school that's nut-free. And it's not just for my grandson. It's for other kids that are coming up. He read you the statistics of children with allergies. So my hope, and I pray for all the kids coming up, and especially my grandson, that you will consider making this school a nut-free school. And I thank you.
Thank you. Any other input from anyone?
I do have one thing. It's not related to Cameron, but I will, it's very short. I forgot. So once again, Russell Nato. So I reached out to all the elementary schools in the MSA D60 to see their policies on peanuts and tree nuts, which they're all aligned, same as the high school policies posted on your website. One thing that was concerning, I was told that there was walnut trees at one of the schools, which I did some research. There are not any walnut trees at any of the elementary schools, but there is a chestnut or a couple chestnut trees at one of your elementary schools. So I want you all to be aware, chestnuts are nuts, and kids on the playground can become severely allergic. Not necessarily will they, but they can. And that might be something I know that you've been aware as far as my son's classroom, but this is on one of your school grounds. And I'm not sure if they're grandfathered in where they can't be removed, but it's not my son's school, but I still think that it's something you all should be aware of, that there are chestnut trees, and I have it in the email. I don't know if it's Berwick or if it's North Berwick Elementary, but there's chestnut trees on the property. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready to move to the minutes of September 6th. September 6th. Did I spell Ms. Mallett's name correctly? And did I call anybody a male that wasn't a male or female?
I was there, but I missed the executive session with Kenny.
Okay.
So,
All right, I will adjust that. Oh, there it is. Okay, as amended. All right, so we'll add you. I thought I put it in that you entered the meeting at a certain time. Did I not do that? Okay. It's quite possible.
I cannot see it.
Okay. All righty. Any other corrections, additions?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. Any other discussion? Okay. Okay, all those in favor of the minutes? Okay, thank you. 9-0.
So the other, we need to just add a motion to table a couple of the items because Mr. Connolly's not here. So I'm looking for...
Number 8, number 10.
Yeah, a motion to table 8 and 10.
You can take it back now if you want.
So moved. Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Price.
Okay. Do we have a student report tonight?
I do, actually. The student prepared a report.
Can I just interject really quick?
We need to vote.
Nobody voted, right? We just have to vote on that one, and then you can move on to the student report.
Okay,
So we're going to do the evaluation system video and the board retreat material. Steve really wanted to share that with you himself, and he's not able to be here tonight, so I was asking to table it until our next meeting. So, and Ms. Potter made the motion and was seconded by Mr. Price.
you seconded it.
Yeah.
So all in favor of tabling those?
Thank you. Okay.
Everybody. Now we can do the student report.
Yes.
Okay, so the student, Cormac, he was sick, and so he really did want to come, but he shared his report with me. Mostly around homecoming week, and the good news is that they have made progress on the store, and that's kind of the big thing that he wanted to report. And I believe it's going to be, the kind of first step is that it's going to be open tomorrow morning, or tomorrow and Monday with homecoming gear. They got class t-shirts for each of the 5 grades, I believe. I guess it's their colors. Juniors and seniors are paid for by a raffle that they did. The rest of them are going to be $10 each. And they also got in, I think, like the foam hands and some other stuff that they're hoping the kids will bring to the homecoming events. And so this is kind of like the first step that they knew that they could get this piece done, and then they're going to try to figure out what does a permanent store look like, what kind of, how do they order, that type of thing. So it sounds like Ms. Plaisted was definitely a key person in getting all of that done, but student council is going to be helping to run it. As far as upcoming events, they have it's Spirit Week, so they have the different days. And I believe they are doing a bonfire on Thursday night, which is after the boys' home soccer game, so they're hoping for a good turnout there. Yeah, I guess Cormac and a girl named Madison are going to be helping to run the store. That was the other piece. So they do have some student involvement there. So bonfire after the boys' game on Thursday night, and then the football game Friday night playing Mount... Is it Mount? No, the other one.
Are you talking about this week?
Yeah. Not this, it's next week.
I don't know my
Yeah.
life before that.
Yeah. And then the dance on Saturday night. So those were kind of, I think that's what mostly everybody's focused on right now. I don't think there was anything else. Yeah.
I'm going to try to follow up with Cormac. I didn't get a chance to talk with him this week because it was kind of a little busy. So I'll, just so I can sit down and talk to him, then he can share his minutes right directly with me.
Great.
And then you, as a mom, doesn't have to.
That would be
report.
awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We can do that. Yeah.
I'm going to tell him he needs to learn how to spell liaison.
It's not an easy one.
No.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great. And then he really did want to come, but was not feeling very well.
All right.
Okay. Lease approval?
This is it. Okay, so we need to approve the lease purchases of the bus and the copiers that we put in our budget. everybody voted yay on the budget, and now that we actually have the documentation for the lease purchase of the bus and of the copiers. This is all the bank information. So this was all approved through our budgetary process, and now this is the legal part for the banks. So I'm going to share with you first, I'm going to give you the motions so they're in front of you. You do not have to, whoever makes this motion does not have to read the entire thing. If you choose not to, you may if you want to. It's long, yeah. Pass those down. Actually, may I keep one of those? Thanks. So these are things that are already in place. The bus is here, the copies are in here, driving everybody. Well, actually, it's pretty good. They're working pretty good. We use our little fobs, and we're all very techy now. So.
77 passengers.
This is crazy.
Almost big enough for a marching band.
So this is the lease
Putting that bug in everybody's ear this year.
77 passenger bus and 3 minibuses, so for the total amount of $278,635.
The motion is just the top preamble?
Yeah, I have to put everything in, but the preamble will work for this, definitely.
So lease purchases, we're not paying it all now, we're doing it.
Right, this
is the first.
Right, exactly.
And how many years is that?
I believe it's a 3-year lease. Let me look, we can see it clearly here. I can get all my little details from folks.
And these are all drawn up by the attorneys, right?
Yes, these are all done by the attorneys in the bank, yep. So Gorham Savings is our typical supporter for the lease purchase.
There's nothing on here about length of lease.
But it is a 3-year lease.
Is it possible to add that in?
I would add that in the motion aspect, I think.
Yeah, I can see if Denise is in the building to find out the details. Hold on. Technology is a wonderful thing. Need to be in there. Yeah. I don't know that.
I'm sure there's a much larger actual lease document.
It refers to the actual lease documents.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Yep. This is just that we've authorized.
This is just board authorization of it.
So do you guys want to?
I'm comfortable making a motion.
Okay.
We've done this several years in a row.
Yeah. I'll get the detail from her if she'll get to me.
So this is just one page of a large document.
Exactly.
I move that the vote entitled, "Vote to authorize lease purchase of 1 77-passenger and 3 mini-school buses in the principal amount of $278,635 be adopted in the form presented at this meeting."
Okay. Second?
I'll second it.
Do we have any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Thank you. All right, and then the same goes for our copiers, which we'll pass around here. So these are all, everything's in place. Thank you. And this one is for $187,550.10. I know.
And how many printers and in how many buildings? Do you have any just a rough?
Oh gosh, every printer in the district has been replaced. Yeah, every single one. So the new printer contract has 70-plus printers installed, and new monitoring software and tracking is in use. So, and the vendor is A-Copy.
And so you have the fob, so you can see how much
Yes,
each
yep,
teacher is.
yep. So everything is very much now, the tracking devices, the tracking for the printing is on board.
And how many years for?
I don't have, it's the same thing, and I'll ask the question for, but I think it's 3-year lease as well. It's typically the turnover because printers do not last forever. No, they don't, no.
And do they provide training for the staff?
Yep, they do. We actually did training on the very first day of school, and then there's ongoing training in the building as needed.
And they provide repairs if anything goes wrong?
They do.
We have a discussion on this last year when we were deciding which company to go with. You guys had like 3 different copier companies. I remember a discussion on that one.
Yep.
Almost,
I feel like one had ties to, I remember that conversation.
Yep.
yeah, and someone was significantly less expensive than the other 2 or whatnot, and was local.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had in our, and not to be disparaging in any way, but this is definitely a move in the right direction. In terms of responsiveness to, and the printer quality is good, very good.
Well, I'll move that the vote entitled, vote to authorize lease purchase of technology equipment in the principal amount of $187,550.10 be adopted in the form presented to this meeting.
All right, I will second that.
Any further discussion?
Okay.
All in favor?
Thank you. Thank you. Since they're all here, that was really a good thing. All right. Next.
Delegate of Assembly.
Yes, so we talked about the Maine School Board Association's annual meeting, which is October 25th, and you all said you would think about who might want to go and who might want to be a delegate. So, who would like to go and who would like to be a delegate? Are you up for being a delegate?
Yeah. I
All
guess.
right.
My friend who's a rep said that on those days, if anybody wants to go and have a little tour of the State House, meet some people, she'd be happy to show anyone around, whoever's going to be up there, or any other time for that matter, but we were talking about that meeting, so if that's something that you want to work into your
I've been
day.
around there a few times.
Okay. Don't need to.
No, right now.
Okay. Does somebody want to nominate Ms. Newbert since she has self-declared?
I feel very iffy about it.
I'm gonna go with what Ms. Beal said.
He says he feels iffy about it. Is that because you want to go?
What's that?
It's because you really want it to be the
It's
delegate.
because I'm a jerk.
On camera.
Out there.
All right. That does not mean that other folks can't go. So if anybody else would like to go to the School Board Association meeting, the conference, it's a 2-day conference, and there's a lot of really interesting topics taking place. So
I'm assuming we still need a second and a vote on the nomination?
I think there was a second by Ms. Potter, yeah.
Okay.
And now we just need a vote.
Okay, all in favor?
Feel very strong armed.
Congratulations, Nancy. Tough competition.
Vote well.
And what I will do is I'll push out to you guys the list of topics that are being covered to see if there's anything that you're interested in. I am actually going to be presenting on the Ryan Home and the community and school connection, so that'll be fun. All right. So next, technology update. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a quick update. What did I do with it? I just, here it is. Okay.
Is the evaluation system what we were skipping?
No,
We're skipping
8 and 10.
Yeah, Steve really wanted to present those, so I happily will let him do that. So as I said, the new printer, so this is just an update from the technology world. The printer contract is in place. We're really happy with the vendor and what's been happening in the building, so that's a plus. There's a wireless expansion. The network team, including Eric Chellis, Garrett Poole, and Stephen Vitale, had a very busy summer adding wireless access points to every elementary classroom. So we are now actually one-to-one grades 2 through 12.
Wow.
Yeah, so pretty pretty big deal. There's a Restart to Update, which is a new bi-weekly publication that highlights technology changes, updates, and news. I'm not sure, do you guys get it? Have you seen it? You've seen it, Becky? Okay. So maybe I'll make sure that you get it, because it's pretty neat. Brett Saucier does the most of it, but he keeps everybody up to date. It's a good place to check just what's happening.
It's really well done.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job. Okay, and technology integration. So Heather Sampson and Bridget Dumont. So Heather used to be the computer ed tech in Northburg and Knowlton School. She shared that position. And Bridget used to be a teacher at the Noble Middle School. They are our new technology integrators throughout the district. So they have developed a schedule to work with every MSAD 60 teacher once a month. So once per month, every teacher gets some time with them. Yeah. They started September with setting technology goals with teachers. They'll continue to work throughout the year on integrating some of the tools we have at our disposal. So one of the big issues is that there is a lot of technology available and a lot of programs, but not a lot of time for people to learn about how to do it and have somebody with them to walk them through that. So this is the goal that Chris has put into place, is to try to kind of elevate everyone's skill level in the use of technology throughout, particularly the elementary schools, because it's coming at them fast and furious. So I'll ask them for an update in a few months to see how it's working out. And hopefully maybe somebody can come in and kind of share some of the work that they're doing in the classrooms with their little guys.
So we have two K through, and they're both K through 12?
They really are focusing K-5. They really are focusing K-5. 6 through 12 has another person working in that capacity.
So is that a new position, or did we always have
We have
two?
them. Yep, we have them. Yep, we just replaced. Okay. Yep. And we took those two positions and sort of reconfigured and really made sure that they were being pushed out into the buildings.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets, so Heather replaced a woman who her home base was at the middle school, and I think you just get sucked in to the building that you're in. So they've sort of put this more on we need to get you into each building on a regular basis so that everybody gets your skills. So we're just kind of working the deal. All right. Okay.
I have a technology question.
Sure.
Did we ever find out what the big drain was last year on the network here? When they cut off the Wi-Fi and then found out that wasn't it?
I don't have a good answer for you, Denise. I think, though, when I think back on it, I think that it was related to MSLN, which is the Maine School Library Network, and us, and there was some sort of a configuration issue. But I'll check in with Chris and find out for sure. I don't want to speak out of turn with that one. What was the big drain? I'll find out. Okay, I think that one's that. Can you say
We're
that?
down to 11?
Yeah.
Employment, new hires, retirement, and resignation.
All right. So we have a resignation. Under other, okay. So Miss Debbie Bordeaux, who is, thank you, it's my list. That's what I've been looking for. So Debbie Bordeaux, who is a fourth grade teacher at the Knowlton School, shared her letter of resignation. She just started with us. Excuse me, but she had some personal things and she needs to resign. She's given us 60 school days so that we can find a good person to step into the role, so she's not just bailing on us, but she had some personal issues that she needed to step away from the job. So unfortunately, things like that happen once in a while, and so we will be looking to find a good person to fill that role. If she is, and she said that she would stay, it basically takes her to Christmas. Of course, if we find somebody sooner, she'll transition out and this person will transition sooner. So I do need a motion on that one.
Wow.
I know, it was definitely a while. And she felt really bad about it. She came to see me, we spent a good hour together talking it through.
Move to accept the resignation with regret.
I second the motion.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Thank you. Okay. I do have an other. I have some policy stuff for you guys. So originally, we would, and I'd like to do it tonight if it's okay with everybody. We have some just first readings that I'd like for you guys to look through. I have some special packets for Joanne.
Thank you.
And for Dustin as part of the committee. And I have,
Oh, the committee's fun. It is a party.
so these are two for you guys over here. Pass those along. So what we're looking at for,
I suppose, do we need to make a motion to add first read to the agenda?
we can, it's under other business, so we can do the first reading under other if we want to. You can actually make motions under other business. So it's up to you guys.
The policies we're about to do for first read, we're going to make it out in the minutes, I'm sure?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put them right into the minutes. So the first, and again, what's going to happen is we're going to look at these tonight, just briefly, and you're going to say, yes, send them to this policy subcommittee, and that would be considered your first reading, and then they'll bring them back to you with any amendments or changes that they want to make, and that'll be our second reading after that. So the first one that we were looking at was the chemical hazards policy. And these are ones that are primarily just needing to, you don't have chemical hazards? Well, wait a minute. Oh, wait, maybe it's right here.
No, I don't have it. Let's see, chemical.
Oh. So what do you guys have?
Staff contact,
All right, so I'm confused what we went with for this. So I have chemical hazards. We have student discipline. Student use of solid forms. All right. Oh, okay. All right, let me tell you this.
These are white.
Yeah, I know, and those need to go into your books.
These have already been.
Yeah, those need to go into your books, I apologize.
My question to you is why are we reviewing these if they're October?
Right, they're not. So those are ones that are going into your books.
That was easy.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, I'm trying, this is definitely Steve's fun thing, not mine, so it's like, okay. So what I have in front of us, and I guess my question is, I don't have these for you to look at in front of you, so I'm not comfortable with you calling these a first reading if you don't have them in front of you.
So can we do a first read if they're emailed to us, or does it have to be?
You can do a first read if they're emailed to you. And I don't know if, did Jen send those out to you tonight? Let's look really quick.
I think she sent us a lease agreement.
Yeah.
Lease agreement's nothing about.
All right, so is it okay with, the question I have then is for the policy subcommittee members. How are you feeling about this not having been looked at by the board prior to you getting there?
I think we could look at them and then bring it back what we suggest. In the meantime, they'll have them to look
Yeah.
at. And if you have any thoughts about the
Send it our way.
policies,
Yep.
just email them to us.
We've been delayed too long anyway on policy work.
Yeah, we need to get
So
going.
Let's get going.
I
That's
think
what I was
at a minimum though, so folks would know what policies that we're going to
Yeah.
look at, maybe we should just vocalize a list.
Sure.
Yes.
Have Jen email then the policies to the rest of the board for review and then send us their comments, but
So
just in
the-
case these interest anybody, they'll know what we're talking about.
Okay, so fair enough. So the policies that we're asking the subcommittee to look at first are it's EBAA, which is chemical hazards, JK, which is student discipline. I'll put it in the notes.
Okay.
JFCK, which is student use of cellular telephones and other electronic devices. JFCKR, which is the school rules that go along with the student use of telephones and other electronic devices. What you need to know about JFCK and JFCK-R is that they are non-required policies, but that doesn't mean that we don't want them in the book. You guys can talk that through. So I'll have Jen push these out to you guys, and so that you can, if you have questions.
Those are the only ones, because I've got quite a bit more in my packet.
Those are the four we were going to talk about tonight.
You
That
want
we were
to
going to
send them
put
all
out,
out?
that we were going to put out to the board as first readings.
Okay.
So I think there's definitely more to do. But those are the first four.
Really?
Okay? I don't think we wanted to totally inundate the board right away. So, you, however, can be inundated with all the information.
Appreciate the special treatment.
Absolutely. That's what we do. Okay, so I'll make sure Jennifer sends those out to everybody.
White is final copy.
White is final, you can put those into your board policy book.
Okay.
Okay? sorry about that.
Did you get away one? Did you?
There's,
No. Did you?
Did you get a white packet?
No,
That's
I think we
that
didn't.
came through. I think you.
Is there one more?
I think there's a white packet at the end for,
Yeah.
yep, those guys have it.
them.
Yeah.
Right here.
Jen purposely made sure that
I got a
they
big
got
stack
the
of whites right in the back
extra
end there.
stuff. She has more organized than I do. It's all good.
We don't have a new policy meeting date yet, so.
Okay.
But it should be shortly.
It should be shortly, so
Once you-
as soon as you get a chance, look.
Do you want
By the
to,
time we meet again.
would you guys like to try to book that tonight for next week? Is that something?
We can, but we need Steve's schedule, so
I have it in front of me, so I can do that if you want to.
I didn't bring my calendar.
Okay,
sorry.
all right, so that's okay. Then I'll have Jen send out,
I would like a request, if we're having a policy subcommittee and go over these four, can we also add anything we have on peanuts?
sure,
Or not allergies?
Or any allergies,
Yeah.
not
we
just
absolutely can.
Yeah.
our allergy policies.
We will do that for sure. And that's why I'm thinking it would be good to try to fit it in next week if possible,
Okay.
to get moving on that.
All right,
We do have a
after-
Facilities and Finance Committee meeting next Thursday, so it won't be on Thursday.
Refresh my memory. Do we throw away the old copies and keep just the new ones?
Yes.
Okay.
And there should be a colored one in there, right? Because
Right,
that
it
was,
should be.
because we're working on it.
Colored one's the draft.
Maybe we can choose if we have to meet around 3:30, right, for a policy meeting? What night next week do you know that you'd be available?
I'm here at the high school every night around 5, anytime before 5:30, because that's when I got to pick up football.
Okay.
So if
So
you want to meet,
Wednesday work for you guys, maybe?
if it doesn't, I'll make it work.
I can make it work.
You sure?
So Wednesday 3:30.
Yep, I'm going to put it in, and that way we have it set. And then if that's something really, and actually what we'll do, I don't have anything scheduled for myself that time, so if Steve's still not feeling well, I'll just step in and we'll get the meeting going.
Okay.
Okay? All right, perfect. Thank you. All right.
If I can just speak really quick during about policy subcommittee, how this works for the folks that spoke this evening pretty impassionately, is when we deal with policies, rather than have 18 people look at it, we have a focused subcommittee, and we'll meet and we'll go over policies and look at that, and then we bring a recommendation back to the board. When that happens, if you're looking at further agendas, you'll see as policies get decided on, then they'll be put on a future agenda for board review and vote. So I'd keep an eye out on the agendas for when they show policies, they're called the second read, and it'll say allergy. And then you'll know that that's the night we're going to be discussing.
Thank you for that. All right.
Any others?
I have no other others. I can actually, I was going to respond to...
You responded to me.
Yeah, I was going to respond to the security information night that we had discussed putting out there, and we're looking at, I'm working with some guy named Travis and some other folks from the fire crew and the police crew, and we're looking at the week of October, actually, we're looking at October 11th to do that. And so that actually is secure, that's the safety month. October is safety month. So we're going to do an evening presentation, kind of a panel, and talk about what we're doing in our schools regarding safety. Yep. And that, I'm just going to double check. I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple of people whether or not the 11th works. If it isn't the 11th, it'll be the 10th, and we're just kind of working that through.
will you let us know?
Absolutely. It'll become, we're going to advertise it and put it out for public consumption, because we want to get as many people here as we can. And what we'll do is we'll have principals, we'll have administrators from each of the elementary schools, middle school, high school here to talk about sort of just the typical protocol that we do anyways, and what kind of information is shared with kids and what we practice and all that kind of stuff. And then also some information from our fire and safety folks and our police folks to just talk about even that other piece of it, what's happening in the community, being proactive, that kind of thing. So that is that. So back to you, Travis.
The update on the football field was hopefully before tomorrow's game.
Yep. It's out there.
I think they might have done it this morning. I saw
They've been working on it. So what I think, it's done, it's out there, they played soccer on it tonight.
Guess we should have bought those
Yep.
before we came in.
Yeah, so I will say that, I think, and I didn't get it, I got pictures of it because I was in here prepping. As we go forward with it, I think there's some tweaking that needs to be done with it, just because it's a really large stencil, and it's very complicated. There's a lot of pieces, parts to it. And it's not like a bold piece. It's got a lot of like lines and stuff in it. Yeah, and it's done with one color. So I think that as they get through this, they're going to have to like get more skilled at putting it all down. It does, I mean, it looks fine, but it's not. It just needs some tweaking, I think, and it's the first time that we've ever done a stencil on a field like that, so.
If anyone would like to see that stencil, Noble is playing the Blue Blazers Friday.
And I hope you all come, yeah. It's nice.
It got changed to 6?
Yeah.
It is military service night, so if you bring an ID or a DD-214, you get in for free. Go Knights.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
they're going to
Price.
there are going to be some military presentations, which sound pretty cool.
They don't tell me enough. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't tell you enough.
That was the other thing I meant to tell you, but that did not come from the student. That just came from because I know one of the organizers, but it does sound like it's going to be a pretty cool event.
Yep. So, yes, we have made progress.
Walk path, they're supposed to be having some finishing touches.
I think they did some,
Sunday.
yeah.
They did some last
Yeah,
Sunday,
yeah.
and they're supposed to be doing some finishing touches this Sunday.
Yep.
And the banners,
The banners we're working on, Jen and I are working on them well, no, they're not completed, but we'll get them up, yeah.
The other thing about the homecoming game is they are doing a halftime fireworks.
Oh, fun.
Really? So exciting.
It was awesome last year. It'll be awesome this year.
Yeah, it's cool.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
I have another just brief mention. There's going to be a candidates night on October 23rd at the Berwick Library, 6 p.m. I don't know if it's going to be on the Berwick Public TV or not, but for the District 5 candidates for the Maine House of Representatives. And I think this school funding is going to be a big topic of the of discussion, so some people might want to be there.
What night was that?
October 23rd at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
So we'll,
And at which library?
The Berwick Public.
Berwick Public.
so the Republican, Democratic, and Independent candidates for the Maine District 5 House are going to be there, or invited. I don't know for sure if they'll all be there, but and I don't know if they're doing other offices beside that, but I know that's one that's going to be there.
Which one
Great,
is,
thank you.
which one is 5? Is that Karen's or? Yes.
Berwick and part of North Berwick.
Yeah.
Okay. I can never remember what district.
It's not Lebanon, but it's pertinent to everyone because, you know.
Just can't go. I do have another. We had talked about reconvening the Code of Conduct Committee to review that and possibly add something about bus behavior.
Yeah, I thought we had talked about, reconvening just to just check in, but we haven't set it up yet. It's okay. So I will work on that.
Who was you?
On the committee? Code of Conduct? Yes. Yep. And you?
By default, was there anybody else?
Nope, just two. Yep. Okay. I'll get that organized. I'll probably do it prior to a board meeting if that's okay.
Sure.
Can I be added to that committee?
You certainly are welcome to join. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Did you want to talk about the information that you asked me about in terms of
I didn't know if you had a chance to get me. Oh, you're good. I had someone contact me because our tax bills came out, and they, of course, you know, the breakdown of what the schools are costing each of the towns, and one of the Lebanon residents had asked me if we could let her know what our cost per pupil is. And that would be great. I know, don't they usually break it down by like high school?
Well, we did it specific, we didn't do as specific as high
Perfect.
school middle.
Nope, that's
We just
great.
did, you know, a K-12.
Thank you.
So I'll pass this out to you guys. So my
But
friend Denise
I wasn't sure she'd
have.
be able to get it done because it was just a few hours before our board meeting, so I didn't want to.
I appreciate it. Yep, no, Denise is a good woman. She helped me out. We had lunch, we had supper together. So the way that we did this, and this is not an exact science, to be honest with you, because it's, the numbers fluctuate a little bit over time. So what we're sharing with you is that the most recent data on the state's website is the 16-17 school year. So that's what, the first set of numbers, which is cost per student in MSED 60, is $11,198.45. The state average per student is $11,859.95, so we're just slightly below that. Please note that the calculations for this don't include transportation, they don't include debt service, major capital outlays, or other expenses which include like school nutrition. So, but these are comparing apples to apples when you talk about from your district to the state level. So what we did was, the 16-17 data, the number is based on actual expenses, because we have the conclusions of that. The 18-19 info that we're presenting to you right now is just on what we've budgeted. So we won't know actual, obviously, till the end of it. So our estimated average cost per student is $11,407.23, so slightly higher than last year, but not significantly so.
Now, I would have no doubt then the state average has probably gone up as well.
I would say so. I mean, yeah, that would be my expectation. So that's that information, if that helps you when you go back to your constituents. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right.
Anybody else have any other?
Okay, who gets to make the motion?
Do we have a second public input first?
Second public input.
Are we doing a second executive session?
Oh, you know what, we are. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it won't take long. So, second public input, though, if you want.
You think we need it? Oh, sorry.
Does
Anybody have any other issue for public input?
Can I just leave these pamphlets over here if anybody wants to take the information?
Absolutely.
And then we'll be done.
Okay, thank you.
Really appreciate everybody.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome to come back.
All right, appreciate that.
I'd like to make a motion pursuant to MRSA 405-6D to go into executive session for labor contract negotiations.
Are you cutting it? or-
No, I need you to say you're not coming back from.
Okay, yes. So we won't be back for this, at the end of this executive station.
We're saying goodbye.
All those in favor?
Wait, Mr. Price, wait,
Ms. Potter. Yep.
You need to specifically state no other business will be conducted once you're out of it.
Okay. Once we're out of executive session, we will conduct no other business. Period.
Okay. All in favor?